Hey there, it's Mr. A. I'm going to briefly show you, the cheat sheets to InText citations that will help you, of course, understand probably on a more specific level than the video introduction what InText citation format looks like. But for the most part, here's what you need. You need so after the quotes, right? So outside of the quotations, in parentheses, you need the author's last name, space, page number. That's pretty much it. So yes, there are some situations that become a little bit more complicated, and there's a lot of writing here, right? Let me see. Let me turn my thing on. Okay, wait. Are you telling me it's not on? Okay, it's on. So one type of situation, like right here, where this person's leading into quotation, just look, notice right there, end of the quotation. Oh, come on. It's not letting me highlight. Well, whatever. Right here, anyways, we have a quotation mark and we have the parentheses. Now, what goes in the parentheses changes sometimes because Wordsworth is a person being quoted right here. Okay, so anyways, let's see. I paused it for a second so I could get in and there we go, and fix Viva. Okay, so Wordsworth is mentioned. So that's the author's name. And because he's mentioned right here in the regular writing of, well, let's say it's an essay, I don't need to also include the last name within the parentheses. That's it. Okay, what happens, Professor, if that's not the case? Well, if you don't mention Wordsworth anywhere in here and you're talking about Wordsworth, there's the difference right there. Okay, is there a difference in terms of, does it now go inside the quotations or something? No, there's no difference there. It's just, you can see right here, it's just in the parentheses, you have the author's name and the page. That's it. What if it is a paraphrase without a direct citation? Well, if you're talking about something that's not your own idea, then you still have to cite it, and so it just looks like that instead. It's pretty straightforward, right? So sometimes there are some complications. So for example, well, this is without complications for the most part. We have print sources with a known author. So it's just going to be exactly like we already looked at. What if it's a corporate author? Don't worry about that. You're not going to have to deal with that. What if there's no known author? Well, it's just like if there's no known author with the work cited, you are citing by the title. And so you just need them to be able to understand where to go on the works cited page. And so in this case, you can see that they used a shortened form of the article title instead of author. Why? Because they don't have an author. Where's the page number? It didn't have a page number. There you go. Sometimes in very special circumstances, like when you have literary works that have been published over and over and over and over again, they give the example of like the Communist Manifesto, but you'll see like you're far more likely to run into multiple versions of things like the Bible, for example, which has its own format, and Shakespeare, stuff like that. So in that case, you might use this stuff, but guess what? You're not going to use it. You're not going to see it. I'm going to skip this. If the authors have the last, like you're using the same, I should say that, you're using two authors that have the same last name, but they're not the same people. In this case, you use their first initial. But guess what? That's just not likely to happen. It does happen sometimes. It's happened to me, but most of the time it does not happen. Citing a work by multiple authors. So we have the situation here. We have two people that co-authored a book. Here's the best. That's one of the authors, and these word and Marcus and page. So it's just authors' names and the page. Okay, if you have three or more. So if it's like one, of course, write their last name. Two, write both their last names. Three, oh man, Okay, now it's getting a little bit ridiculous. Okay, in that case, you use the last name of the first author, and then you add et al. So once you hit 3, that's what you get to do. It's the cheat shortcut. So right here, there's an example of that in the actual text, and then we have another example here of what that looks like as a InText citation. Multiple works by the same author. You're going to see, you're going to have to, of course, indicate what work they're talking about. That's not going to happen. Multi-volume works, don't worry about it. The Bible, well, if you do happen to cite the Bible along the way, the main thing you need to remember is that, hey, look at that. It has its own citation format, and if you're going to do it, then you should be familiar with it. Indirect sources, like when you're reading a book and it talks about something that's quoted in another book, you use this, quoted, oops. You don't have to find the original book. You use this little cheat thing here that's quoted in. Transcripts, plays, or screenplays. Yes, there are different ways to do all of these different things. But the only other thing that you're very likely to run into is when you're citing from the internet. You can see that sometimes it just requires a little bit of creative citation when it comes to the internet. Very difficult, to figure things out if you don't have all the information. And many of these web pages don't, right? We say, hey, Google, find, some information. We go to a web page. It's not like we look for the author necessarily. We're just looking for the answer. Other non-print sources, you can see it goes on for a while here. Okay, now that's all well and good. Another little shortcut is, well, first of all, on this page, you have the citation machine that will create citations for you. But, I use this Google extension all the time myself. That's called Apogee 2 Citation Creator. And whenever you use it on a page, it gives me the credibility score. I know that this is the legitimate page, not Uncle John's, website. And it also gives me what it thinks would be the best citation format. I'm going to go to extension here and just make sure. I'm going to change to MLA 8 and save it, and then try again. I could tell that it wasn't in the right format. Okay, try again. There we go. It looks fairly similar but longer. That whole thing right there that I would have had to otherwise have figured out myself is now put into the correct format. So at the end of the day, you do have to show where you got stuff from, but I don't see any reason to, force everybody to figure out the mechanics of citation style when there are tools that can help you do it. I mean, what's the point? The point is to do the research and be accountable for where we got the information from. And beyond that, there's no point in memorizing MLA formats, right? Like all the different bits and pieces. So use the tools that make sense for you. All right, I hope this helps.